How's it going, guys? It's Vash here with another build vlog. As you can see, I'm printing something out, and this here is actually the outer ring to my Yeti mic. I actually have a mounted setup for it, but the outer ring broke only because it was PLA and it's not quite as strong. It actually probably didn't print right. I think it actually overheated the plastic, so it kind of broke it down a little bit more. And as most of you might not know, actually I imagine a lot of you do know, some of you might not know, PLA is not as strong as other materials. ABS is going to be stronger, PETG is going to be stronger. There are better quality PLAs out there, stronger PLAs than others, but in comparison, PETG, ABS, and a bunch of other materials are going to be stronger in the end. This, what I'm printing with right now, is PLA, but it's actually MakerGeek's PLA. It's not the Raptor, though. It's their standard PLA. I actually got this roll from a friend of mine, and I actually got a few other rolls, but I'm printing with this one because it's black, and I wanted the mount to be black. This is actually stronger than the standard PLAs that I've used, like Hatchbox and some of the other ones. And that's why I'm using this. Just because my printer's not quite adept at getting high enough temperatures quick enough for me to print with PETG, and mainly on the heated bed. It takes a while to get there, even with the MOSFET. But that's what's going right now. I know it's a bit loud. I gotta change the bearings out on that. Probably the next week or so, I'm gonna order some dry lint Ingus bearings and replace those. It'll take down the noise, as well as a fan on this. I want to change this out, but I'll show you what I'm talking about on the mount for my Yeti. So this is it right here, and as you can see, it's broken, and I don't move it that much. It's actually being held together with hair ties. Now, what a lot of people were saying is oh, order shock mount wire. And I look around, and it's not easy to find. I'm sure that some people probably know where to find it, and probably know what exact name of that stuff is, but it really is not that easy to find if you don't know what it's called and you don't know where to look. So right now I actually have it just held up with the hair ties, and it was doing the job, but over time this was just bending because it just can't handle the weight. So it just broke up there. But that's what this outer ring is, what I'm replacing. This is what I'm reprinting. I'm going to reprint that, and actually I'm going to reprint this piece here that actually mounts to the shock stand. That seems to be okay right now, but I do want to reprint it, just better, stronger material, something to handle the weight much better. This inner ring here, though, I don't really need to reprint it, just because, as you can see, it's being supported by these bolts and these nuts, and the supports on the inside, which actually is pretty nice. The guy who had designed this had also made these. And I'll put a link to everything I'm printing, or actually I'll put a link to what I'm printing and a link to this that I have on the mic. But it's nice because I don't need to do anything with this. These are supported. It's not falling apart or anything. But that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm gonna show you guys a bunch of other things that I'm actually working on right now. Alright guys, so this is actually just a couple of things I'm working on. I'm gonna go through a few things I'm working on. I actually have an Anet AM8, so that's the metal frame upgrade, if you guys aren't aware, for the Anet AM8. And all the directions are online. You can find it on Thingiverse, all the files to print it out. I'll put a link to it in the description below. But the very front for the Y belt that moves the Y carriage, it's a belt tensioner. So you can adjust it, but I hate having to go through, and I hate that that's designed that way. So I wanted to just build a front Y belt holder that I didn't have to mess with. If you cut it to the right length, if you find the right length, you don't need to keep tensioning it. And recommendation, please do this, guys. If you have an Anet A8, please replace the belts that it comes with. The belt that it comes with is this really terrible plastic belt. There's much better belts out there. I'll put a link in the description to a belt I purchased, much better quality. But I went through and I designed, it's hard to see because it's all black, but I designed this front belt holder, just really basic, and I did multiple prints just because I didn't get it right the first time, and I kept figuring ways I could make it better. Obviously in this black PLA that's just been exposed, but it's still printable, so printing out just different you know, things to try out with it. But I reprinted it multiple times. Just the M3 holes for the nut wasn't big enough. I don't know if you guys can kind of see that. It's not quite focusing, but so I did it multiple times. This one still wasn't right. I know it's kind of hard to see. That wasn't right. I did get it right on this one. It did work on this one, but I still reprinted it. And the fourth one is actually on the frame right now, and I'll show you guys that a little bit later. That one's still not perfect. I'm actually going to redo it, and then I decided to kind of make a different one, just with no backing, but I'm going to increase the supports on the sides here, so you know, it kind of comes out a bit better. I'm gonna try and see which one works better. I do kind of like this design, but I do want to just kind of fix it and increase it and make it a little bit better. And once I get this narrowed down to just the quality it needs to be, I'm gonna upload the files to Thingiverse. If you guys want to use it, you guys are more than welcome to. I know some people out there might be thinking in the same way I do. If you have it to the right length, you don't need to have a tensioner. If you look at the Prusa i3s, the Mark II and the Mark III, they're cut to the right length. You don't have to tension it. That's it. Here's actually another thing I've been working on. This is actually a file that I found on Thingiverse for LED lights for safety goggles. So if you have like a set of safety goggles, kind of like these that I have here, just basic safety goggles, and if you're working with power tools or anything, you guys should have some of these. Maybe not this one, there are other kinds of safety goggles, but man, please have some. Definitely want to protect your eyes. So these are actually for a setup for LED lights to go on the sides of them. And actually, let me bring those glasses back. You guys can kind of see. It's going to fit on the side here. It's just going to go on the side like this. And basically, if you see here, there's two front holes where the LEDs will go. And then there's going to be a mechanism to hold in the CR2032 battery, and then a switch. And that's pretty much it. And this kind of comes off here, so it's kind of open there. But I'll put a link to this down in the description. And right now I'm actually going to order the actual, it's 3 parts. I mean, outside of the battery, it's going to be the battery holder, the switch, and then the LEDs. And I just need to solder it up. And my roommate Nick, he's got a soldering iron. He said I can use whenever I want, so I'm going to borrow that from him and solder this up. And hopefully next week I'll be able to show you guys the finished product, because I actually been really wanting these, because I actually wear safety glasses at work all the time, because I work, sometimes I have to go fix computers in the factory area, and you have to wear safety glasses there. So, and some of the areas, just, you know, when computers are on the ground, it'd be really nice to be able to see. So I'm going to hopefully have that done in the next week or so. But that is the next project I'm working on, and there's just one for each side, as you can see there. And here is another project I'm working on, or actually not working on anymore. I have them all printed out, and they're set to the right standard and size and everything. So on the Anet, the AM8, the metal frame Anet, you need crossbar attachments. So for the different extrusions, you need to be able to attach the different bars to each other. Now, in the actual files, there are these corner brackets that go on there that hold them, but you need support kind of up towards the top. which these are basically just cross joints. Now, actually, let me start with these over here. So these ones here, I don't know if you can kind of see, I printed these, and they, let's see, one goes across this way, and then one goes across this way. It's a corner cross between, basically just two of the bars, but obviously they don't run parallel from each other. But I'll show you guys the metal frame and what I'm talking about here. But these actually are the first iterations of what I printed, and unfortunately they weren't thick enough. This is actually only 2 millimeters thick, and I needed to make them 3 or 4. I didn't want them to be too thick, so I didn't make them 4. I made them 3, and that actually worked out perfectly fine. These are only 18 by 18 by 20, but they're holding the frame perfectly fine, which is really awesome. So, but I reprinted those, and those are 3 millimeters instead of 2. And I'm probably gonna make a 3 millimeter or make a 4 millimeter, and then upload them on the Thingiverse. If you guys want to use those, you guys are more than welcome to. And then I have these guys here, which are just all the way across, top to bottom, has that infill spot, so it fits within the opening. And these are 3 millimeter. I really wanted these just so I could replace all of them, so that just the whole frame gets better support. And these kind of snap into place, because this middle opening where you actually connect the M5 screws, it is a 5 millimeter gap, and I measured it out, made sure it fit, and these just kind of snap in there, and then you can just, you know, bolt them down so they hold. But it's really awesome. I was really happy with how these came out. I hope you guys can kind of see the quality of this. I know it's really hard with the lighting I have, but yeah, I was just like totally happy with how this came out. Because before, what I was using were these guys right here. This really huge block, and the only thing is, like, these are fine. It just, I wanted these to kind of just fit in there perfectly and snap into place, because it's really important that you have the right accuracy of where the gantry sits. It needs to sit 127 millimeters in front of the rear, and just basically being able to set these up there and hold it in place, and then bolt them down, and then just have the gantry snap into there, because I have these fittings here that go across the back, was really awesome, and it just made it easier when I was redoing the whole thing. So yeah, I basically just got rid of these guys here, which I didn't like, and I basically made these guys here. So I'm pretty happy with that. Alright guys, so here's what I was talking about. This is the Anet AM8. Now obviously you can see there's no power supply, there's no motherboard. Unfortunately, the motherboard on it went out. Well, not completely, but I'm replacing it. I'm actually getting the 2560 board from G-Tech, and I'm gonna replace it with that. Much better board. Supports dual extrusion, which actually is something I think I might do on this one, but I just want it to work in the meantime, so I get both printers back up and running. And also it it works with Marlin and everything. It's got a better MOSFET on it, so I actually don't think I'm gonna need an external one, but I still have it and it still works, so I might just keep it. But yeah, so that's kind of the state that this is in. So technically I have 2 printers, but only one's working. But I kind of wanted to show you guys the brackets I was talking about, the braces. So as you can see here, if it comes into focus a bit, those parts I printed go right here. And as you can see, they're just fitting right here, and they're holding up the gantry on both sides. So that's kind of what you see here. Now the cool thing is the way I printed them, and actually let me just put one on there, just to kind of give you guys an idea. There's that metal piece there, and it kind of just sits in place. And let's see, it'll sit there great, but it moves back and forth. So there's not a lot of room for error when it comes to bracing. It sits perfectly. It's 20 millimeters wide, the same as the aluminum profile here. This is 20, so I'm going to basically replace these with those. Now I know that these are bigger, but I want the accuracy and the support on these, and I tried breaking these and they are tough, so I'm actually not worried about the quality of it. But as you can see there, I have those there and they're bolted in, and this sucker's not moving. I've shook it because before, the ones I had on there, they didn't hold as well, and I know I bolted them down really well, but they didn't hold as well, so the gantry was moving forward just based on the weight. It was just sliding forward. But then you can see the cross one here, so it has a little 5mm bar on this side, and then it has one on this side too, and that's what's holding this accurately in place, which is really awesome. I'm actually really happy about that. I'm gonna, like I said, make a few improvements on it, maybe increase the thickness to 4mm, and I'll load up both versions, a 3mm or 4mm, depending on what your preference is. You could use either one, but I'm really happy with the way it came out. But that's what I'm using on this and this, and I'm going to replace this here, and the ones in the corners, yeah, I'm just going to replace those, because I'm kind of reworking this whole thing. There's actually a few things I'm going to do to this printer. Like right now I actually have a Bowden setup on this guy here, but I actually want to go back to direct drive, so I'm actually going to design my own. I'm going to design my own carriage. I've seen a few of them out there, and I kind of don't like how they look for the direct drives, just because they force you to stick with one type of extruder motor, and I don't like that. I want the freedom. If I want a pancake motor or the standard brick size one, I want to be able to choose. So, but that's what I'm working on, guys. That, and obviously I still have the, the mount still going, and actually it's going pretty good. I'm kind of happy with where it's at. Probably got a little bit more time on it, but if you guys like the video, hit the like. If you didn't, hit the not like, the thumbs down. Please subscribe. I would appreciate it. Gonna be doing more of these. I'm trying to do these once a week, just so people can kind of see what I'm doing, and I'm printing pretty much every day, if not every other day. So I'll have plenty of stuff to show you guys. I have more on the way. But until next time, guys, I'll see you guys. Have a good one. Keep playing games, keep making things. I'll check you guys out on the next one.